So today I had a very interesting question. I just came back from a coaching session with one of my clients, and he started this whole session by asking, "How do we know when we're doing the right thing?" And I was amazed by that question because it takes a lot for someone to ask this question. It takes a lot of courage to ask the question of, am I doing the right thing? Especially when we are living in a world where we automatically assume, we like to think that we are doing the right thing, isn't it? So he asked me that, and I thought, I love this question, but at the same time, it would be a lot easier to dissect the question if I had some context as to how the question came about. So I asked him, so hey, how did this question came about? And he said, well, I'm having doubts, or rather I'm having some thoughts about raising my children. Like, how am I raising my children properly? And I was like, oh, that's the best thing ever. Now, the reason why is this. uh, a parent's worst fear is to make a mistake as a father or a mother. That is the worst fear. I mean, if something out of control happened, and something happened to the children because of situations outside of our control, that is one thing. But to have something happening to our children, and we are to be blamed, now that is a whole can of worms altogether. So he asked me this question, and I asked him back this question. I said, well, that's a good question. Now, how do we know whether we are raising our kids correctly? How do we know? In fact, how do we know whether we are in the right industry? How do we know that we are living the kind of life that we're supposed to live? In fact, how do we know? How do we know for sure that we are not living in a clone vet somewhere with like cables plugged into our neck, and we have like hyper intelligent AI robots stealing our life energy to create electricity for them? How do we know that we're not living in a simulated reality? And the answer is, we don't. Actually, we don't. We never know. And if, let's say, everything, and there's a reason why I'm bringing it out all the way to this abstract thing. Okay, because we would love to think that we know certain things, but the truth of the matter is, we don't really know. We can just believe. And there are multiple levels of beliefs. What we consider to be something which we say I know is, in other words, simply beliefs validated through experience. I know I have two hands. Why? Because every time I look at my hands, I'm experiencing my hands. So I know it's here. That's the highest level of belief. The second highest level of beliefs would be a belief that is validated by theory. It makes logical sense, so therefore I believe it is right. It makes logical sense, therefore I believe it is right. But the lowest level of beliefs are the beliefs which is based off of assumptions. I heard this person say that. I think they are right. I'm just going to believe it. In other words, it's blind faith. So why am I bringing all of these things out? If the highest level of belief, aka no, is something we directly experience, that means you know that you're raising your child right if your experience of your children and other people's experience of your children is something that you want. Then you know that you're doing something right. But if you are not doing something right, then the experience that you have, the outcome that you have, is not something that you want. It's as simple as that. So, in other words, to decide to know whether or not you're doing something right means you are working, you're making a decision, you're doing something which you think is best, and then you constantly observe the outcome, right? You make the best decision that you can, and you observe the outcome. And you will notice, those of you who are more conscious, you will notice this very interestingly. It is very easy to make the right decision when you are on, when you are conscious. But it is not easy to be conscious all the time. It is easy to make the right decision when you're conscious, but it is not easy to be conscious all the time. Because in life, many things happens on a day-to-day basis that will distract you, that will make you angry, that will make you jealous, that will make you fearful, that will make you ashamed, that will make you feel guilty. They'll fill you with so many emotions to the point where you make mistakes and you become unconscious and you make mistakes. So all you can actually do in reality is make the best decision you can, observe the outcome, and then have the humility to say, I messed up when you really messed up. Because you are going to mess up. I will mess up. Every one of us mess up. There is no parent on planet Earth that never mess up and will never mess up for the rest of their life. People always mess up. The difference is there are people who mess up a lot, and then there are people who mess up not so much. And the difference between these two, between the parents who mess up a lot and the parents who don't mess up a lot, is that parents who don't mess up a lot have the sincerity to acknowledge that they're messed up. Whereas parents who mess up a lot have no sincerity to acknowledge that they mess up, and they just continue messing up more and more. And this applies to every area of our life, whether it is in health, wealth creation, relationships, romance, friendships, business, career. People who don't acknowledge that they mess up will mess up more often. People who acknowledge they mess up will mess up less often over long term. So it is because of this reason that, and this was we shared a laughing point earlier when we talked about this. It is for this reason that my personal belief is that the most important work we can do for the world is the work we do on ourselves. The most important work we can do for the world is the work we do on ourselves. That's what I believe in. So all of these people, so many people, they love talking about creating impact, changing other people's lives, right? Well, even when it comes to something as intimate as raising our kids, our very daily decisions are based off what we think is best. And what we think is best depends 100% on the level of growth that we have and that we have experienced throughout our lives. So I urge everyone to, including myself, to constantly put in work on ourselves so that we can minimize the amount of mistakes that we make in life, so that we can become more conscious human beings, so that we can then leave better impact on our children, our family, our friends, our community, society, to our nation, and the world. And I thought that that was an idea that is worth sharing. So hope you guys gained value from this. This is an impromptu sharing. I felt so excited after talking with my client that I decided to share with you guys. If you guys like this, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys sometime soon.